All right. See, are we live? One day I'm going to make a start screen so I'll know for sure that I'm live. Not see myself. Okay, there we go. Took a hot minute. Okay, good. I see myself. Cool. All right, we're here. So, welcome everyone. The the long delay on my phone. Anyway, welcome everyone back to Blurred Force One. I'm your boy Mo. We're here to talk about The Boys, season 4, episode 7, the penultimate episode to what has been a pretty crazy and also, shall I say, stressful season of The Boys so far. But I've been really enjoying it. It's just sometimes this show is, ooh, it's hard to watch. This episode is called The Insider, and a lot of stuff's going on, as you would expect from an episode that's leading into the season finale. Before I get further into this, though, I got to do the requisite shout outs for you know the channel. So this is Blurred Force One. We talk about pop culture things, mostly superheroes, in our pop culture media on the podcast, the Supercast, but also do some reactions, reviews, all that good stuff. Sometimes opinions. So uh, that's why we're definitely coming here to talk about this show, which is, The Boys is, it wears its heart, so to speak, on its sleeve, where it talks about political things and then makes fun of our culture and all that good stuff. So really, really great show. Been enjoying this season. Been enjoying talking about it once a week, and as per usual, we gotta sit and talk about what happened and kind of recap, and then we'll start talking about kind of my opinions on it. But um, if you guys are here, do me a favor, get down there, hit like on this video, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Hit the notification bell so it'll let you know when we do these lives and release other content. All of that good stuff helps to grow this channel, helps more people see what we're doing here. And if you like this live, let me know. I will try to do these more often. I like talking about stuff like this, so it should be a good time. So either way, since nobody's here yet, which is cool, I'm just going to talk about this episode. I took some notes this time, unlike last week where I barely took any. I didn't take any notes. So let me go over them. This is as an overview, there's a lot of like things coming to a head. The whole bit about the soup virus and where they can get it, advanced enough. The plot against the plot against Sanger, what's his name, President-elect Singer, to put Victoria Newman into the high office. Sage and her falling star, so to speak, with Homelander versus Firecracker's rising star. Mother's Milk having to make a choice about his family and who he's going to value how. And you also have Annie, and she got in a bit of predicament related to the assassin. Kamiko and Frenchie figuring out their relationship. It's just there's a lot of stuff going on. Oh, an A Train. The face turn that A Train has made has really kind of come to a head in this particular episode. Um, I suspect that that's going to not. I was thinking he was going to die in this season. I'm not sure if I believe that. I think they're saving him for next season. That being said, let's go through the notes. This is essentially I was walking my way through the episode. It always takes me so long to get through the episode because I'm often wanting to stop and like make a comment or take a note or something like that just to remind me what I was thinking at the time. I will say I was a little more stressed in this episode than usual, and there's good reason because Homelander. I'm not saying he's losing it, but he's definitely he's getting there. Now, things aren't working out exactly the way he planned. I'll also say they keep trying to make me lose faith in Ryan, but damn it, I don't lose faith in Ryan because he kind of stepped up and did his thing. Uh, they start the episode off with a terrible, terrible version of Sesame Street, uh, where Ryan is kind of there and he's interacting with puppets that are straight off of the Henson sort of style, the Sesame Street style, but it's all right wing propaganda, bought propaganda, pro stoop, anti woke shit. It's sort of amazing how on the nose it is. It's so on the nose that it almost certainly could have just been quoted straight up off of real things. Um, so who's going to see themselves in this when they're watching this episode? I don't know. Will they recognize they're being talked about? Um, Ryan not being about that bullshit. So I think I've been saying that Ryan could be actual Superman. Homelander is, he's not Superman. He's definitely, Hyperion or whatever. He's definitely the evil version of Superman, and Ryan is actually Superman. And as long as Homelander can't influence him too much, he should turn out that way because his mom is his biggest influence. And in this episode, he's in the last episode he's sort of shunning him aside so he could talk you know politics. And this one he's sort of trying to manage he's trying to manage the situation, and trying to figure out who's the mole, all of that stuff, trying to get people in position. And as a result, he doesn't have time for Ryan, and Ryan's sort of on his own. And when he's on his own, he can, he thinks he can think more for himself. Um, Stage is on the shit list. That was my next thing. Definitely on the shit list. Because the whole, getting shot in the head and everything is messing up her, basically messed up the plan a little bit. And so Homelander's just like, basically demoted her, and Firecracker is promoted in a way. And as a result, my contention that Sage dies in this season has never been stronger. I definitely see that possibility, but she can talk enough, but not too much to him. And so excuse me, sorry, hit my desk. And so she's tasked with making sure that the shooter, the one that's going to kill Homelander, not Homelander, is going to kill, President-elect Singer, make sure that he gets done. Which comes back later on. We'll see. Um, what's fun about this is they're talking about, they kill Cameron, and that he wasn't the mole. Who's the real mole? Why doesn't Sage know who the real mole is? Um, and so at least Firecracker basically an opportunity. But Homelander says something that's really like kind of stupid and telling that he doesn't really have as much understanding as he thinks. He said he tells Sage that he says you have the brains but I have wisdom. And I'm like, what the fuck have you ever demonstrated wisdom in this show so far? No, that's not what's been going on. You don't have wisdom, but he thinks he does. And that's the problem with people who think higher of their mental, you know, capacity than they actually have. So, what's Sage going to do about this? And I think, and we'll cover this later on in the episode, that there are some chess moves being made while people are playing checkers, and Firecracker's playing checkers, and she thinks she's playing chess. Shout out to Tilda Swinton for her swan song in this particular episode, as this swan song in this episode as what's I can't say the name, Andromedas, whatever. The the octopus. I'm sure I'm saying the name wrong. Um, but as the octopus that the deep uh, is having his little affair with. But also, like, they gave her silly shit to say. She said, I had to note it because having Tilda Swinton say this is, you know, hats off to the people writing this. They got her to say, she said, I came so many times and I laughed. I laughed pretty hard at that. Also, we see the deep cheating on her with Sage. It's going to be important later, too. I love that they are following through on these, storylines and actually having some kind of real resolution to them. Annie's mom still sucks. Yes, she's embarrassed because she doesn't care about what Annie personally wants. She cares about what it looks like to have her daughter have had an abortion and her church family, which is kind of not, it's not weird. If you think it's weird that she would be like that, no, there's, caring about your image or your place in a community does matter to people. And she doesn't like being in the out group, which is Annie's actions make her an out group, makes people wonder what kind of mom she was. Which, by the way, not a great mom. So we saw that in previous seasons, first season in particular. We after they she gets off the phone, or Annie and Huey have kind of a moment where they are just sort of dealing with the aftermath of that conversation, and she says something that I think is no, it's not the first time anyone's ever uttered this in the history of mankind, the history of humanity, but in this particular show, it's probably one of the most rational takes on it, which is she says, I didn't want to bring a baby into a world that's ending. See, there are various societies there, people have had terrible societies, where you have a hard life or you could die because of your ethnicity or your sexual orientation, um, your political ideas, any of that stuff. And having kids really does seem like a stupid thing to do in a time like that. So, in this case, this is actually a world that's possibly going to end. Like they're on a knife edge, and they're tilting in the way of disaster. And so that's a rational thought. Why have a baby? Why have a weapon? You know, a, why have responsibility for a person who will suffer in this world that they're going to, it's bad enough that you have to suffer, that other people suffer, but you consciously bring in a child into the world to suffer through Homelander's, you know, more than likely, I wouldn't say more than likely, extremely likely, going to kill the baby. So it made sense to me. Um, it's, and I love seeing Huey kind of understanding and not, Huey's really been a stand-up guy throughout all of this, and very supportive. Also, I love that he kept the super suit, so that also comes into play later. Um, Later on, they at the offices of the boys, which is weird that they have offices that are above ground. Cobra Inn, how you doing? Welcome in. I'm just kind of recapping my notes right now, so bear with me. They're not as extensive as they have been in the past, but I do want to make sure because the last couple times around I kind of got sidetracked on people talking, but uh, be my guest and fire in questions or comments. Oh my lord, get out here. Fire in questions and comments, and we will cover them. But I'm gonna try to get through. Oh, Johnny, welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you for joining. Also, again, I am going to try to get through these notes real quick. Um, where was I at? So, yeah, they're talking about what to do about you know the soup virus. Essentially, Butcher comes in, confesses, ignores Kessler on his shoulder. And it's like, look, can we at least get this to, let's try to make it so that it actually is targeted and that won't become a pandemic because I don't want to kill thousands of people. Which to me, I was just like, Yeah, I'm with Kessler on this shit. To be honest, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I'm with Kessler. Um, kill them all and let God sort them out. It's kind of my thought on it. Like I like Annie, Miko, love her, really love her. A Train's making a turn, cool. I'd hate to see him go, but to get rid of Homelander, I will put flowers on their graves when it's all said and done, because it's pretty clear in this world that soups shouldn't exist. They have just demonstrably made the world worse by their existence. And as much as I like these people as people, Homelander is having mercy on them is having mercy on Homelander. And Homelander will not have mercy on anybody. So that's just me. If I would be Kessler, but maybe I'm wrong. Y'all can talk me out of it. Um, Kamiko and Frenchie still having their issues, but they get it together later. Um, I said this plan will definitely not work. And it bears out later on, as we see. Um, Mother's Milk stepping aside for his health. He did have a really bad health scare, and then making a plan to get Monique and Janine out of the country because he knows what's about to go down. But then um, them having they have a scene, and it's really good scene. I really like the scene. I understand the scene. I have a kid. I would do the same thing. Get them the fuck away from here before the shit hits the fan and they are lined up in a firing squad or sent to camps. I get it, but there's also the whole idea of just the, what do you call it, the allure of just, as Rage Against the Machine said, you know, come and play, forget about the movement. But, fuck the movement. I got to do for me and mine. I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all deal with it's very, very attractive to just say, fuck it. I'm gonna take care of me and mine. Um, Butcher's back in charge. Not a great idea, but it is what it is. Um, the stuff, but Ashley is. We see Ashley spinning out because the pressure. She actually turns out not to be a shitty person completely because she fires her assistant to make sure he's not around to be killed when all the shit goes down. Um, let's see. I said Butcher is wrestling with why he's really doing what he's doing by arguing with Kessler. That is an interesting thing. He is trying to figure out, is he doing this for Rebecca or is he doing it for himself? Is he doing it for Ryan? What's his reasoning here? Um, did y'all peep that the assassination date is January 6th? So they are 1,000 times leaning into the whole uh analogy. Not only gonna call it an analogy, they're leaning into, yes, this is the January 6th of this particular universe. It's not accidental. Um, so the shooter is, we see the shooter, we see A Train seeing him. He gives them the information. They're going to go track them down. Um, meanwhile, Frenchie and Kamiko are going to go deal with getting the virus souped up to the point where it's actually effective, with the thought of killing Homelander and Victoria Newman. Um, they go and they deal with this person, and it turned out they're a shapeshifter, and they're a gross shapeshifter. They tearing their face off and stuff, right? Tearing their, to change their skin tone and whatever. And I knew it's a Chekhov's gun. I knew. As soon as I saw that this person could change shapes, I was like, okay, somebody's getting replaced. I knew it. I extra knew it because as soon as they were like, oh man, we lost everybody. Well, let's split up. And I'm like, have we never seen? We haven't seen horror movies, have we? We don't understand. Okay, this person can look like anybody. Y'all ain't seen The Thing. He can look like anybody. So okay, I was like, I 100% knew somebody was getting replaced. but they sort of I don't want to say trick, but they gave a red herring in having Huey go off by himself, right? And then Annie and Butcher are together. So right, so they can rejoin with the rest of the gang while Huey's getting fixed up for his cut. Um, and I was like, that's a good red herring. I liked it. Um, I A Train and MM have a conversation when it looks like MM's just like fuck this. I'm going with my family, or going to Belize and whatever. And A Train explaining his sort of his face turn, if you will, how he feels better about. He wants to not hate himself, and I really really love that scene. A Train has been a piece of shit much of this show, but in this season, trying to actually be a good person, which of course is always a death sentence in shows like this, but he tries to be a good person. He's been a mole. Now he's telling Mother's Milk, you have to finish. You got to see this through to the end because there's nowhere on earth you can go where this won't affect you. And just talking about wanting to be actually a hero, I really like it. I'm glad that they're giving that character that sort of character development. And Mother's Milk makes a good point. This fight asks so much of you. This is true about any of these sort of fights, especially you know here in America, the good fight. The worst thing that usually can happen is maybe a political assassination, but probably not. More likely, it'll be a character assassination. They'll bankrupt you, ruin you. Maybe you'll go to jail. Maybe they'll discredit you. In other countries, no, you and your family disappear. Saddam Hussein used to be famous for that. So fighting the good fight is not it's not free, it's not safe. It's you're putting yourself on the line. You're putting people you know on the line. But if you really believe in what you're fighting for, sometimes that is what it is. You have to say, and sometimes you lose, and people pay the price, and that's what MM's dealing with. Uh, so here after this comes one of the big, I think one of the biggest scenes in the series, but one that I think that they've been hiding this a lot throughout the series, which is we finally see Homelander brutalize someone. Just he literally rips Webweaver apart. Poor Webweaver. He's a junkie. He isn't the reason why things got happen, but he sort of gets found out by Firecracker, who does I guess she does some Nancy Drew shit and figures out the most obvious shit. But seeing actually seeing who she's fucking with is interesting. But I didn't know that they were gonna actually, we've seen him laser someone's head or something. Or we've seen him something in it, but they actually show him ripping a guy apart, like in a comic book, and it was brutal. And I was saying on Threads, this is to me, that's the sign that yeah, they're about done with this story because up to this point they have been sort of it's been happening, but it's been happening off screen. You don't really get to see the brutality. They are actually upping the stakes to the point where no, now you get to see the worst of what's happening, what Homelander really is. That he must be stopped. Like they're finally showing the visceral nature of Homelander's threat, and I really liked it. It was very gross too, but yes, I liked it. Um, Kamiko talking about being a child soldier and how she, kind of confessing about how she and Frenchie actually do have some similarities. And I love seeing our favorite platonic couple getting back together. Now, of course, in the midst of all of their bonding again, they allow Samir to sort of execute his little plot to escape, which leads to a fun little, a fun little bit where you know Kamiko's leg gets cut off. Like if you watch The Walking Dead, you remember Herschel getting bit by the zombie virus and getting saved by getting an amputation. But she'll be fine. It's just a leg, whatever. We've seen her regrow an arm earlier this season. Um, Butcher won't be happy, then it must be the right thing to do. They were going to let Samir go too. So, I mean, what a, oh well, I'm sure he'll be all right. Maybe. We get to see the fight between and this was disturbing too. The fight between uh, the octopus and Deep. I think Deep is irredeemable at this point. That's his girl. Yes, he's cheating over Sage, but like he lets her die, even though she dies saying "I love you." And it's Tilda Swinton, by the way, love her voice performance. But she dies, and Deep is just like a piece of shit about it. And now he's like 100% ride or die soldier for that. He sucks. Like I can't wait till whoever kills him kills him. He sucks. Um, I liked Huey trying to reason with Victoria, and this is I like the whole scene because it was interesting. It's kind of like if you ever watch shows about organized crime and people are just like, you can get out, you can stop, that you can turn states, you can do all. There's a point where you're so far in, nope, ain't no getting out. There's not an exit. You are so far in, there is no way to get out and live. I think Victoria, when she's talking to him, is like, nope, I'm stuck. Where I am, the path I'm on, it's the only way forward. There ain't no going back. So seeing Huey trying to, I mean, I love Huey for trying, and Victoria for admitting like I don't want to do this, but it's this way or dead. Um, they finally, so Homelander finally uh sends the Deep and brand new Noir to take out basically the boys. Unfortunately, they're off on mission, so they got Butcher and Annie to deal with. A nice little fight ensues. Very fun fight ensues. We get to see Noir's powers and stuff like that. Deep still sucks. He was saying some real dumb shit about, he's what they call it. They say this is legit gaslighting, saying no, actually I'm the victim. We know he's an asshole and he did a lot of shit to Starlight, but he's like, you just want to victimize white dudes and all. He's saying a bunch of bullshit talking points. That's what it is. Just to dig in the fact that he sucks and he's irredeemable. Fight ensues. It kind of ends in a draw of sorts because A Train pops up and basically outs himself. I'm the mole, right? Good fight. I wish he had fucking killed one or both of those guys. I don't understand how you can be super fast, but you can't kill the Deep. There ain't no way. The Deep's not super fast. I this shit would be fucking easy. It'll be super easy. Grab his ass and drag his fucking face across the concrete for 2,000 miles. What? How hard is this? No wonder you can't beat Homelander. You can't even beat motherfucking Deep. Okay. Um. Let's see. Mother's Milk makes a personal sacrifice. Yes, he chooses to not go with Janine and Monique to Belize because of A Train. Homelander's upset because he thought A Train was a ride or die, and he takes it personally. You see him cry. He's crying real tears. He's feeling very betrayed because remember he said he has wisdom. He's got wisdom, not brains. He's got wisdom. He's not wise enough to know when motherfuckers don't really fuck with you. Uh, Firecracker continuing to be a walking stereotype and parody, calling him boring uppity. She wouldn't say that to his face. He'd beat her ass. Homelander fires Sage. I told y'all. I told you he was. I thought he would kill her. He's close to it. He said he could have sent her home in a bucket, but he's firing her. And I told you he would lose her. She says good luck without me. She says she knew that A Train was. She always knew, and that him being the mole was important because she was feeding misinformation. Homelander is not smart enough to get this. Sends her off. I do not think that. I know for sure we will see her next episode. I'll tell you why in a sec. Homelander's so upset he doesn't even want Firecracker's titty milk. Can you believe that? He turned down. Do you know how upset Homelander has to be to not get fresh milk from the teat? Um, you see the Deep and Noir going, bro. I know this is a parody of some stuff. Bro. Realizing they have both been fucking Sage, except that the Deep had to lobotomize her first. So what's so good about Noir that she didn't feel like she needed her brain scooped out? It's hilarious. I loved it. Um, so yeah, it's the whole thing with Samir happens. He goes away. She gets her leg amputated to Lynn. I think it's Sunshine, which is that's a hilarious song to have in the back. The end of the episode has Ryan on the Avenue V thing, the whole far right wing propaganda Sesame Street, and it's that fucking horrible song. I love it. That song's so fucking terrible. And Ryan be like, nah, stop this shit. I'm gonna keep it real. Stop hate. You can't be hating your family and everything like that. And let me tell you, my mom was the best. And I don't want to do this shit anymore. Here's the truth. I'm out. Ryan, that's my dog. But I'm so glad that Homelander was AWOL this episode because that kid, he can be Clark Kent. He can get that motherfucker out of his ear. So we see later at the very end, Annie puts on the costume, which by the way looks great in the costume. I ain't gonna lie, looking pretty hot. I'm just gonna say, Huey thought that too because they proceed to do their thing, and Chekhov's gun fires. She was replaced, right? Annie was replaced by the shooter. So this is why I think Sage is still in the game. That's her asset. Sage has a plan, and I will bet you, she even planned for this whole thing with Homelander, firing her and everything. She has planned the whole thing with H. I'm just saying, I think it's true. So anyway, that's my recap. Sorry, took that long. Those are my thoughts. Let's go into what you guys are thinking about it. Did y'all like this episode? I really enjoyed it. It's not the best of the season, but it's doing the foundation building for the finale. It's every basic, they've set all the pieces in place. We know what the various game plans are. So now we just have to see them, execute in the next episode. So, all right, let me see what you guys are saying. I like I said, Cobran says, "What do you think Sage will do now?" I honestly think she is still running her plan to the end. I still think she dies though. I think she's still executing the plan. I wouldn't be surprised if the whole her getting fired was actually part of the plan too, to kind of make sure that everyone, she could move, unobstructed and without people noticing. You think we get Soldier Boy and Queen Maeve in the final? That is a good question. That whole Queen Maeve thing, and her parting shot. There's somebody you can't beat. Who is that? The Queen Maeve book that she left there. Does it have the plans? Who knows? That's a good little thing. I don't know. We're gonna keep an eye on it. Cobran says, I have a feeling Homelander might want to connect with Soldier Boy again after hearing Ryan's speech about family. I mean, maybe. I feel like his dad's really disappointing to him in the sense that he can't he can't please the guy, right? And the guy almost killed him. I would be interested in seeing him come back. Maybe all the cards are on the table for next season. You'd think we'll see Soldier Boy again. I definitely think that's true. He's not dead, so yes, absolutely. Do I want A Train to become an official member of the boys in season 5? I wouldn't be opposed to it. I like. I like the actor. I can't. I wish I could say it. Let me see. Actually, there's no reason why I can't say the guy's name. Jesse T. Usher. I really like his. I like his portrayal. I like what they're doing with the character. He has made me hate the character. He's made me cheer for the character. I don't think that they're going to kill him off this season, so that they no they'll if he dies maybe next season. I don't know. He's out of he's AWOL right now, and they can't necessarily find him. So I'll be interested to see what they do. Um, Johnny says, "Will Sister Sage run to Victoria Newman?" I still think she's gonna. I think she's gonna be like, if you to put it into real world context. I think she may end up being, the shooter on the grassy knoll. If you know the Kennedy assassination conspiracy theories, at the very least, she's going to be pulling some strings. She's not done with it. I think her plan is being executed right now because Annie is locked up and can't get out, and there is a doppelganger who has her place. So she's got an inside person into the boys. But that person, they weren't there for the whole soup virus thing. I think that's probably what's going down. Should the deep have been killed? And I wish he had. Johnny said, should the deep have been killed in this episode? I wish, but I think that they have more comedy and more drama to mine out of his character, who has definitely taken. He's definitely taken that turn into just the worst. And so, like as always, like with Joffrey and Game of Thrones, you got to keep making them stack. Stack it up, stack it up. So stack more and more underneath them, so that when they fall, it's glorious. I think. Um, Season 5 will have Homeland as president of the United States. That would be cool. I would love to see how they figure out how to make that happen legally, but sure. Um, Sisters, let's see. Johnny says Sister Sage's plan doesn't sound like a good plan. Well, that's I would say that's because we don't know the entirety of the plan. So far, she has shown the capacity to have wheels within wheels, plans within plans. I think it's been pretty. I feel like it's been pretty obvious that her knowing about A Train is true because it's been making us question her actual intelligence. So the fact that she knew and was using that, okay, that makes sense, right? Plans within plans is what I'm seeing here. I really even think that the whole deal with um, Firecracker finding out about Webweaver, I wouldn't be surprised if she sort of nudged that along to put Firecracker in a position where she thinks she's, a confidant. She's more trusted. She thinks she's above her because she has plans for Firecracker. Firecracker is a useful idiot. That remember, she's a useful idiot. That's basically the reason why Sage brought her on. Her acting like she could be the new Sage could be a plan. It helped Sage being officially away from the seven. I think works better because she can work from the shadows. Um, Johnny also says A Train doesn't have the stomach to kill people anymore. Episode 1, he didn't use the bat. Yeah, I could see that, but I mean, like, I get it. He and Deep have gone all the way back, but I mean, you're in betrayal mode. You can't be pulling no punches anymore. This is not the time to suddenly be like, you know what? I'm gonna have a Batman no kill rule. That's not. This isn't the time. No, hey, kill this dude. Let's see. So let me catch up. Uh, Johnny asked what was my favorite episode this season. Ooh, let me see. What are all the episodes? Let me remember all the episodes for this season. Season 4, they are. Mm, it probably is 4. Wisdom of the Ages. Um, just because for Anthony Starr's ridiculously great and terrifying performance. Um, it's hard to understate how hard it was to watch that episode, but also how I couldn't look away. It really is. It was, I think, probably the best episode so far. But we haven't seen the final one yet. It might give us something good. Um, Johnny also says Black Noir has been the funniest character this season. I agree. It's so interesting how casually he's like an actor, right? So he's an actor. He wants to act. He finally figures out what this character is about, but he's very totally okay with the casual murder of people. You notice that whenever Homelander pointed him in a direction and said kill, he did it. So he's kind of a fascinating character, but also we don't really know who he is. We don't know him beyond he'll do what Homelander says, and he really wants to do a good job portraying this character. Is he a method actor? Is maybe that's what's going. Maybe that's why casual murder is not a big deal to him because he's method. So he's embodying the character. He's living the character, which will be a fun and interesting take, and also a good kind of shot at actors too. Which this show has no problem with shitting on anybody. I think that'd be funny. Um, you like this episode slightly more than episode four. I mean, I that's fair. I think there's some really good stuff in this. Um, really seeing A Train commit when Mother's Milk is hesitating is a fascinating look at one character's turn to the good side. You know, I mean, it's cliche to say this, but it's very much or close to a Vader throwing the Emperor over the railing situation, where he's wavering, but he finally for real commits to the cause at the cost of his possibly his life. Also, shout out to Colby Menifee. I am actually started out. Remember, she was the assistant to I wish I could remember her name, but Elizabeth Shue's character, in the first season, she became the CEO and basically was just stressed the fuck out because she realized, oh, I'm dealing with people who will kill me, and she's been sort of teetering on the edge of insanity. But her way of dealing with that was she got real kinky and weird with Cameron and doing all this other stuff and like kind of bossing other people under her around. She's a middle manager that has to take all her aggression out on her subordinates because she sure as fuck can't do that to her superiors. And she's trying to keep it together and trying to keep her head on, literally. And then realizing that, oh, wait a minute, I can't, again, like Victoria Newman, she can't extricate herself. She was like, why don't we just run away? Which it reminds me of, this happens in others. Let's just run away, get out of here. We can leave this all behind. Um, and for that to be sort of subverted by A Train being like, no, we still got shit to do here. Let's keep it together, man. We can't just roll out. And finally being like, when A Train's like, I've been outed, I'm out of here, let's go. And she's like, nope, I can't leave now. It's too far. Get out of here and be safe. She's not a complete piece of shit. Like, and this show is full of people who are like that. Still, well, thank you, Cobra, and I appreciate it. And which is weird. I read the name this morning when I don't know if y'all saw, but Anthony Starr was talking about how he was starstruck by working with Elizabeth Shue because he had a celebrity crush from back in the day, from Karate Kid. Which, hey, I, I'll never fault anyone. Elizabeth Shue and Karate Kid. I mean, she was hot, but also her character Allie was very cool too. So I can see as a kid being like, oh, I love Allie so much. I get that. But he was he was talking about how it was great working with her. But anyway, um, it's interesting. I sincerely think she's gonna die, but man, she's putting in a great performance in the background role. She's getting a little bit of shine here and there, but I think she has really kind of brought that character to a point where I actually do give a fuck about what's happening with her. Um, she's in a no-win situation. She can't quit. She really can't quit. She is the figurehead. If she quits, Homelander, right? Um, it's so she like I said, Kobe Menifee. She's been doing. I think she's been doing really great work on this show. Everybody's been on it. Really, to be honest, everybody's been on it. Let's see. Cobran says the question is how and who's going to kill her. I mean, it would be a mercy if she was just casually like, you know, swatted away by Homelander and just like her head popped off. At least she died quickly. If it's any of the other people, they're gonna beat her to death. She's gonna go like Cameron. It would be a twist if she actually survived to the next season, but man, her head's literally on the chopping block. And as Deep said, I will kill anybody you say, and it would be nothing. Who knows though? I will say, if Sage knew that A Train was the leak, she probably knows that Ashley was part had something to do with it too. We'll see. Um, so beyond that, let's speculate about next episode. Obviously Homelander's not going to die. Let's take him off the table. He's not going to die. He's not even gonna, like they're not going to. Well, obviously they're not really aiming for him. They're aiming for uh Victoria. I will say I think she probably goes. Uh, it's like she's had a good character arc. But I don't know how where else they go with her. Uh, I hope we see Stan Edgar next episode. That will be nice. But I feel like they're probably saving him for the last season. So he's off the table, but he's not out of the game. Sage probably dying in the next episode when it appears that her plan is working. Um, I we A Train he might die if he doesn't stay away. Sure, I would also be not be surprised if the new Noir dies. So I mean, if we're going by like how many people are probably going to die, at least three probably. Um, I don't think anybody on the boys dies. I don't think so because I'm trying to think of who is disposable. If anybody, maybe Butcher, but we still haven't seen this power again beyond with Ezekiel, so I think they're saving that also. Robert Singer, Grace Mallory, yeah, Singer definitely. I think I think that part of the plan definitely goes off. Um, Zoe, Zoe's the daughter, right? Um, Possibly. Grace Mallory, sure, why not? She is probably going to be directing the whole CIA trying to keep him alive, Singer alive. But it's what would be interesting to me though. Here's my here I I'm not confident in this, but it will be interesting if the assassin gets close, but the boys stop the assassination. Right? The assassin gets close. They figure it out. They stop the assassination and kill the shapeshifter. And Homelander just goes ahead and lasers him anyway. And it's like he goes mask off. Like, all right, cool, fine, laser. He's dead. Victoria Newman is technically the president. And then probably the soup virus thing goes off. I think that will be interesting because then you're in a situation. It's a cliffhanger. All right, Homelander's basically like, I'm running the show. Kill the president. Newman's president. She dies of the soup virus. All right, I'm taking over. I think that's a good way to end the season. Uh, you don't think the new Noir dies in the season? The only reason why I say this is because he's disposable. Like I say him before, we don't really know him except outside of like he's an actor and he's willing to fucking kill people. And also, he was having sex with Sage. Not much more beyond that. Victoria's boy. Are you talking about Samir? Sure. Killing. One thing they like to do is get rid of people who have any kind of chance of making a difference in this fight. Um, but I think, look, the fact that I thought of that means probably that's not what's going to happen, but it will be interesting. I don't think any of the boys die though. It's their plot armor is too thick, and the only person that actually is on the plate to actually die is Butcher, and he's too important right now. Uriel, how you doing, man? What are we talking about? I recapped the boys, and now I'm just answering or responding to questions and comments. Not Carbrand. I do not think Stan Edgar dies. Look, that's too big a piece to take off the board. I mean, he's on the side doing something, but you save that. You save that for a really good moment, and I don't know that that's the time yet. Ashley's definitely. Ariel says Ashley's definitely going to die. The episode 8. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. Um, I maybe because they've just given her so much to work with this season. Yeah, like when I think about the writer's choices, and obviously these characters are serving the story, what it's trying to do, what they're trying to say with this story, and I think Ashley, she's been pushed up enough that probably it would be useful to the story for stake in terms of raising the stakes to kill off a long term character and have it mean something, to us. Uriel says, I would be fine if A Train didn't appear in the season 4 finale. I also would be fine with that. I really think having him be in season 5 makes a lot of sense to me. Well, in turn, professionally, to kind of be a bit of a gift, if you will, to Jesse T. Usher, who has been in there putting in the work since season 1. He is literally in the first scene of season 1. He's been putting in work, has been, in my opinion, has really been playing this character beautifully. So just to kind of give him a good, closing story arc where he dies heroically would be a great way to end his character. And I don't see it happening in the 8th episode. Even though there is a possibility he could just show up to try to turn the tide of the fight. Johnny asked, "Do you think Tala and the Shining Light going to be in the finale for revenge?" That's a good question. It is kind of weird to me that they were important in a few episodes and then now they're just kind of off doing whatever. Though it makes sense to me because I mean, can we be honest? That little if they're that's probably about one of the weaker parts of the storylines in this season. Um, in fact, I will say straight up, Frenchie and Kamiko's storylines are interesting. I'm not saying they're bad storylines, but boy, I'm just like, can y'all sort out y'all's personal shit any other time? There's real stuff going on right now. We ain't got time for this. No, nobody got time for you having a crisis of conscience or, worrying about being a child soldier and saying, no, you know what? Save that. That's some shit you can go to a therapist for when we're done. We in the middle of this. We ain't got time for this. Uh Uriel says every season someone important has died. Madeline, Becca, and Blackmore. Now Ashley has gotten more screen time. There's no. Yeah, I mean, I think I was just saying this, but yeah, she's been pushed up enough that her death makes sense and also raises the stakes. That's all. All of this has to serve the story and raising. You keep thinking like, how can they raise the stakes more? How can they raise the stakes more? Can't get much bigger than it is now. It's her kind of dying makes sense to me. Again, I said it earlier, but she's not a complete piece of shit. She isn't. She cared enough about her assistant to fire him so that he wouldn't catch strays. That's all right. I'm cool. It's not a complete face turn, but she's got some humanity. I'm good. Um. Johnny says hopefully Little Nia comes back in season 5. I would be interested to see that. Honestly, She's kind of a villain, but not powerful enough to be involved in what's going on. I think one thing that when it comes to that sort of like Stan Edgar is definitely a villain. He's not. I mean, he's a villain that we prefer over Homelander still. Lil Nino's a villain. I've often wondered in comic book things, what the fuck are the bad guys when the world's about to end? Right? These guys have power and resources. Where are they? There's a world ending situation. Where are you? What are you doing? Do you live in this world too? What are you doing? So I would be interested to see what, if anything, they can do to marshal resources to deal with Homelander. Because the more I think about it, the more likely it is that Homelander goes mask off and is like, "Nah, I'm super powerful. None of you can stop me. I want this. I'm gonna be running this shit. Who gonna stop me?" Um, Uriel says, "I like how A-Train and Deep sort of switched. They're both members of the Seven who are mostly treated as jokes by their teammates. Deep went from evil to good to evil, and A-Train went from evil to good." Yes. Um, well, let's kind of talk about this. I've kind of gone at length about A-Train, so I won't go too much deeper into it other than to say he has had a very kind of convoluted but interesting character journey from kind of coked out suit that was doing whatever and kills people with abandon to conflicted about his role in the Seven and what's going on there, the way Vaught is using him, the way you know his desires for his personal journey have to take a back seat to what Vaught wants to push their agenda. Um, to being selfishly choosing himself and then alienating himself from his only real anchor, which is his family, alienating himself because he chooses the easy way instead of the hard way. And then, when given an opportunity to redeem himself in the eyes of his family and in his own mind, he takes it at great personal risk and finally just straight up comes out in opposition to all of these things that up until now he has been supporting. I, I hate to kind of bring her name into it because she's still a piece of shit and she sucks. But Candace Owens is sort of in the process of this journey, and she's at the cusp of she could be Deep, she could be A-Train, but she has sort of been let loose from this kind of toxic place that was enriching her and giving her a career. And the question is, which way will she go? And A-Train has taken the way of good. Uh, so A-Train's interesting. Deep is another one. Piece of crap from the beginning, gets knocked down. He even gets married, and but she's kind of taking him. Sort of. It's less about love and more about taking advantage of him and his position. You know, he tries to live authentically. He's in look. He likes fucking fishes. He tries to live authentically. It's too hard to live like that in society. He goes back crawling to the people who gave his life significance in the first place. And in order to be there and to be in that space, he has to hide who he is, and he has to do terrible things to ingratiate himself back. And so his whole journey to evil has been marked with places where he could be a better person. But he's realized I would rather be a shitty person in power than to be a good person in out of power and possibly in danger. And so this is a real choice. It's a real choice that people around the world in our country have to make. What's more important? My my money, my security, my place in society. Is doing the right thing worth the sacrifice? And A-Train has said yes, and Deep has said no. I'd rather be terrible. He sucks. I can't wait for him to die. um, Let's see. Johnny says, I didn't like Frenchie's storyline. It was the weakest. Agreed. And it's resolved so quickly. I don't think that they understood where to go with it. Like it was meant to sort of deepen Kamiko and Frenchie's relationship. I don't think that it was served very well. I think it started out interesting, but because Colin basically won't ever forgive him, it just becomes self-flagellation, and I'm not fucking interested in that. Um, Uriel says, I think Sage might team up with the boys or become her own antagonist separate from the Seven. Um, I think she's pretty. I think she feels pretty good about just kind of playing them for dumbasses, and having everyone sort of execute her plan whether or not they like it. Uh, and why would they take her in? She's what do they have to gain from that? Because I don't. She's not trustworthy. Uriel says, I really want to see Venom Butcher in the finale. I suspect we will get something out of it. I'm just not sure how, or are they willing to show for real on screen, or are they more likely going to have like a blackout moment and then some shit happens and Newman's dead or something like that? Possibly. Um, Hero says the boy's character writing is absolutely phenomenal. I agree. Like I was just saying that I didn't really like Frenchie and Kamiko's storyline in this season. It's still, if it were in another show, would still be a great storyline. It's just there's too much going on to focus on what feels trivial. I know it's something to do with their past and how it affects how they think and act. I get that. This ain't the time. Um, Johnny said, I think the new seven member is going to be the worst of the worst. That's a high bar to clear. They've all been pretty shit. Like, to be perfectly honest, out of all the people that have been a part of the seven, the only ones that didn't outright suck have been A Train recently, Maeve, who eventually made it, got it together, and then Annie, Starlight. Everybody else sucks. Ariel says, I can't wait to see Homelander take over America. I think season 5 Homelander will have control over America for most of the episodes. Probably. Because in terms of storytelling, you have putting everyone in the worst possible. This is the Empire Strikes Back situation. And Return of the Jedi is so damn satisfying because at the end of Empire Strikes Back, it's the worst. Everything's fucked up. Everything bad that could possibly happen happens. They're on the back foot. The Empire couldn't be stronger. They're regrouping. They've lost some people. I mean, everything sucks. And I think that that's how you treat this final season. Everything sucks. It's an unwinnable situation. How do we continue this fight and emerge victorious? So yes, I would, if that happens, wouldn't be surprised. It would be a good way to start season 5. Um, Shapeshifter could have been Huey's mom. Could have been. I don't think so though. It's it because it. First of all, I really really need them to sow the seeds for that so that it's question. Like there's no reason to question Huey's mom's validity. And it's kind of a late stage in the story to introduce this. Well, it'd be like in Clue. You're like, well, let's back up and see where this all started. And then if we go back, actually, this shapeshifter's been here since episode 1. I'm gonna be like, come on, man, don't do that. At least give me some hints at it. Like, let me feel like, oh, that's a detail I missed. Billy roasted the deep badly. Johnny says that is this in the comic? I mean, could this be like a Namor situation in Wakanda Forever, where like let's just dry this motherfucker out? That would be fun. Uriel says Frenchie and Kamiko's storyline need to end in the finale. I don't want their character arc to go all the way to season 5. Agreed. I feel like honestly, I feel like the character arcs ended in this episode. We're all, we had our heart to heart. Okay, we understand each other. Let's be, best. Let's be best friends and continue to kick ass. What else can you do with it? It's not like they're not going to send Frenchie to jail. That is not happening. I don't even understand why they did in the first place. Ariel says we got a Spider-Man and Batman crossover with Webweaver and Tech Knight. Yes, we did for Webweaver too. We knew he was dead as soon as they walked. As we walked in and saw Web, I was like, "Well, your ass is dead." It's just the question is how's it going to happen? That poor guy. He wasn't. He didn't even have the good fortune of being high when it happened. He was coming down off of something and throwing up out of his web hole. So, um, and also Tech Knight sucks. I said that last week. He sucks. Sucked. You know, he used he used to suck. Now he's dead. Um, yeah, Uriel says he's pissed that they killed off Webweaver. He was so memeable. He was like it's somebody. I think sometimes they just have to they have to kill someone for effect. This is also this is also a bit kind of suggesting and kind of pointing out the fact that Sage was onto this. Um, this was too. Remember I said what red herrings? Like this is a red herring we knew was wrong. It's not a red herring for us. It's a red herring for Firecracker and for Homelander, and also showing the giving lie to this. Remember I said Homelander was like, "You have brains, I have wisdom." No, he doesn't. We know that he doesn't. He's a dumb person that thinks he's smart. He thinks he's got wisdom. Where's the wisdom in ripping that guy apart? All that was venting your spleen, venting your spleen on someone who can't protect themselves. He got nothing. He got nothing out of that. Killing Webweaver got him nothing. He could have actually kept Webweaver alive, and Webweaver would have told him any fucking thing. And Sage even says he was a junkie. He was hopped up. He would have told you anything for a hit. It's just exposed. I mean, Homelander doesn't need to be exposed more. He's a little fucking baby, but really being he is so fucking delusional about his ability. And this is not, by the way, it's not accidental. Remember, he's a Trump stand-in. Remember that he is a stand-in for Trump, and so because he's a stand-in, he thinks more highly of himself than he is. He has no clarity about his limitations. He think I've got the power of a god, so clearly I must have the capacity to be a ruler. I must be smart enough to do. No, you were born with some powers that give you a leg up. Sure, doesn't make you leader quality. Doesn't make you smart. Doesn't make you capable. Doesn't make you someone who should be listened to. This is a an analogy for the aggrandizement of the ultra rich. It really is. Um, 70s tab, remember that uses and control ice. Johnny says that. No, I'm sorry. Did I say that right? I'm missing. Cannot read. Why can't I read? Where did I see that? I feel like I missed something. Okay, let me get back up. Johnny says that. I mean, it would be cool if they said if they had that. I'm at the point where I hope they stop introducing new superpowers. We got enough right now. You don't need any more to tell the story better. um, Ariel says even Homelander looked at the deep like, bro, you good? This is this the first time, or is this? Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Usually the 1,000 yard stare, lost in your own thoughts thing is Homelander's thing. So what's going on with is the deep? Is that the first time we saw it with somebody besides him? Let me know. Um, Johnny says I miss Billy Butcher having his season 3 powers. They were fun. I agree. Um, but he missed his opportunity to end this whole show. Johnny says this has been the most disgusting and brutal season so far. Yeah, I mean, look, it's the Dragon Ball Z effect. Eh, You got to, every time you get to a level, you got to you got to create a new level to go to. That's it. Really is. It's not good enough for Goku to be Super Saiyan. He's got to be multiple levels of Super Saiyan. He's got to have more and more power. Fortunately, it's ending next season, so I think next season they'll top themselves. Um, Ariel says, "I want season 5 to be mostly Homelander having control of America, and less character arcs and more suits and badass action." Um, I don't think you're gonna get that. I mean, the show revolves around character exploration. We are gonna get action and ridiculous moments and fun. One thing I don't want them to lose is kind of the silly or fun nature of the show. I will not like season 5 if it's relentlessly grim and like just because it's already look Homelander's already hard to watch, right? When he's murderous, it's already stressful. I don't need a whole season of just like oh everything sucks. I need fun. The one thing Return of the Jedi did well is that opening scene where they dealing with Jabba and Tatooine and everything was fun. We need that because the rest of it's going to be difficult. Um, Iriel says Homelander has some words for his son after episode 7. This is true. I I mean at least he did at least he didn't come out and be like, actually my dad's trying to take over the world. He didn't come out and say it. That was nice of him. Um Iriel said they could have killed Ladio. I'm not sure what that means. Like, please explain that. Johnny says Shao Kahn was happy with Homelander's fatality on Web. It was straight out of like some Mortal Kombat shit. Um, maybe they'll. It would be funny if they introduced that into Mortal Kombat 1, since Homelander is in Mortal Kombat 1. Ariel says the worst fate for Homelander is to get his powers taken away and being forced to be a normal human. Yeah, because then, like, it's essentially like, again, he's a Trump stand-in, so let's play this out. Making Trump be broke, completely broke and nobody on his side. Yeah, being a regular person to a person that to Prince William or any other royalty, being a regular ass person that has to work and no one gives a fuck about your position. Ooh, I bet that burns. It burns like salt and alcohol and lemon juice, on a open wound. Let's see. Ariel says, "What are superhero parodies that need to be in the boys?" I feel like they covered all the major characters, right? Except like maybe Green Lantern, right? I think they cover most of the cover most of the you know major characters that everyone knows. So I can't really think who else they might bring in. Professor X maybe. Um, Uriel says at least Homelander isn't the dumbest person in the boy. That honor goes to a deep. He is pretty stupid. That which him saying all that manosphere shit was so funny to me. That anti woke shit. Because I'm like, who whose podcast were you listening to? Because they ain't your original thoughts. They ain't your original thoughts. You were literally just you were listening to a podcast and like, yeah, let me say that. Um, Johnny, who wins? Goku, Ultra Instinct versus Spider Man. I mean, Goku wins that. He's Goku's a cheat code when he needs to be, and Spider Man actually has to have some rules. Um, so yeah, Goku. Ariel, the only people I want to get character development are Butcher, Ryan, and Homelander. Um, yeah, I think that they're going to cover the bases. Remember that Annie she still has her shit she's dealing with. Huey has his shit. Even though I think he's in a good place right now, so maybe not so much. Um, so I think Mother's Milk probably might have something, even though he's had a good story this season. Um, Instead of where killed, I'm just trying to. Is that LADIO or IADIO? I'm not really sure. That's why I'm confused about who that is. Ariel. Um, Ariel says Homelander is the kind of person to bully everyone, but then when someone his own size come around, yeah, shakes it. Yeah, I mean, he literally did that in season three when Huey, um, Soldier Boy, and Butcher were whooping that ass. He doesn't know how to get his ass whooped. I don't even want to say lose gracefully. He doesn't know how to handle anybody that can stand up to him, which is why Annie gave him so many problems when she was like, I'm not scared. Which is why Maeve gave him so many problems. People who were just like, and why Stan Edgar fucks him up, even though he has no powers. Johnny says, "How about Soup killing bullets and guns in season 5?" I mean, if someone can figure them out. So far, nothing's working, right? If you got super durability, ain't no bullet in the world's going to kill you. I'd say try rail guns because you know physics ought to win, but I don't think a rail gun accelerating something near the speed of light kills Homelander either. If they honestly, that would be the test, but he'd have to stand still. I mean, all right, so let's think about that. A particle, a grain of sand going near the speed of light is really destructive. That could probably kill Homelander, but who has the energy to make that happen? It takes a lot of energy to accelerate a subatomic particle to near the speed of light. A grain of sand is way too much. So, I mean, that's kind of where you're working with right now is, you saw Noir. Yeah, he had on armor. I'm pretty certain he could have taken, shots, rounds of buckshot straight up and not been bothered by it. So it's like killing us. They've been working on how do you kill soups. I think it's smart to be like, well, they got to eat, they got to breathe, and they are not immune. So that's correct. Um, Uriel says if Homelander actually got his powers taken away, he would either kill himself immediately or just hate himself and his life. Yeah, I could see him trying to become a serial killer. Maybe he's a psychopath. Psychopaths love themselves too much to kill themselves. I think. Uriel says I don't want season 5 to have Soup killing missiles or shit because that means they could have killed Homelander or Soups anytime at any time they want to, causing everything to be pointless. Yeah, I honestly and truly think that they have gamed it out and they're like, no, we don't have enough. We don't have anything. We have no kryptonite. You know, they probably could kill Deep and A Train and Maeve with enough, concerted effort. But Homelander's off the table. And when I say concerted effort, I mean like you and what army? The whole army. Shooting down somebody. And there would and I also think nukes will probably work too, but then you're just destroying the world to kill a few people. Um, Uriel says Huey's not the only person who fantasized about Starlight doing it while wearing her suit. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Erin Moriarty looked good in the suit. I forgot what she looked like in it. I think she really kind of like the suit looks good on her. It's just true. Um, Uriel says I expect a web weaver to look like the monster from the Spider-Man horror film. It would have been cool if he was just like, also I have 4 more arms. That'd been dope. That would have been cool. But VFX budgets. It was the whole the whole The whole web hole thing was gross. On brand, definitely. You're gonna ask what I'd do if I had web weaver's power. Um, Definitely not be a superhero. That power sucks. Like, this is definitely one of those X-Men I got a shitty power situation. That his power sucks. Um, Maybe he has some super dur. I would not costume myself. I just what would be the point of that? We don't know what the properties of his web are. So I would no wonder the guy's like high all the time. What a shitty power. I bet trying to web sling with it is garbage. I mean, I'd see my parents and I'd be like, why the fuck did you give me V? Like, it sucks. Top five favorite characters. Huey, Butcher. Um, I like Homeland. I don't like. I like Homelander in the sense that what he adds to the show is great. I don't like him. I don't like his character. I like what his character adds to the show. So I'll say Homelander. Uh, I like Sage. I think she's in one season. She's added a lot to the show. Who's number five? Oh, Stan Edgar. There you go. Yeah, Ariel. Yes, having a shitty power is definitely worse. Well, I mean, if y'all have ever read X-Men comics from maybe about 20 years ago, District X is one of those. It was before the M Day when there's millions of mutants on the planet, millions of mutants, and most of them had garbage mutations. If you're lucky, you get a mutation that lets you look like a normal human, and just you do something, right? Or you have a mutation you can cover up, right? Hey, maybe your stomach is up. You maybe have a a mouth or eyes or whatever on your chest. Cool, cover that shit up. But some people look like rhinos, or they look like gargoyles, or their skin's weird, or they've got tentacles. Shit, I mean, and that's it. It's the tentacles don't do anything. Looking like a rhino or a minotaur. I mean, cool. Maybe you're a little stronger, but what do you do? It sucks. Weakest soup in the boys. The guy who had a long ass dick. Dude, power sucked. I mean, yeah, it could get you in porn, I guess, but long prehensile dick, useless. I mean, not completely useless. Maybe there's somebody else who had a shitty power. I don't know. Maybe in Gen V. But basically, as Tech Knight, remember Tech Knight got dissed by Homelander. He's like, don't even think we're the same. We're not gonna team up. You're a joke. And because his powers were basically super sensory, super senses. Sucks, But he is really. I love Tech Knight's power being basically Wolverine's senses, because then his superpower really is, because remember, he's not, as far as I can tell, he was not super durable or super strong or anything like that. He didn't have any of that. So basically, his power was being rich as fuck. Basically, that's it. Love sausage. That was his name. That's hilarious. Eero said, if you took BN and got a weird ass deformity, what would you do? Like, um, I'd be mad at my parents. They are rolling the dice. But I mean, you gotta live, man. Like, you just try to live. Try to start a Twitch channel. Try and make something out of it. I mean, at the very least, you can get sympathy for like, look, they gave me V, and look what happened to me. He said Tech Knight is basically physically pathetic. Yeah, I mean, it seems to me like he's one of those people who the power he got was not. I mean, he got some cool powers, but he didn't get the baseline, relative invulnerability and super strength. And so he really, like I said, his superpower really turns out to be just be being a billionaire. Just like he's Batman. He can spend the money to make his capes and all that other stuff. But you notice that his angle with Vought was he's the world's greatest detective. So he has like the TV show about solving mysteries and shit like that. If he had his tech cave was not you know a place where he has a Batmobile and shit like that. It's a sex dungeon. So I don't think I think Tech Knight has never he's suited up, but in terms of actually being Batman, he can't kick ass. I bet that's not true. Hero says, I had an adrenaline rush every second for episode 7. It was, you know, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was some bits were hard for me to work through because they were just so tense. You know what I'm saying? Super tense. But that I mean that's the genius of the show that they really make me feel like there's dread that somebody's gonna die or some shit's gonna go down and it's over for a character. So it's my favorite parts definitely were A Train, really making a choice to be heroic, but also Ryan being like, "Nah, stop this shit. This isn't me. I'm not doing this. This is not a nice song. Y'all out there, stop being like that." He's like I said, he could very well be Superboy. He could be Clark Kent if he can get Homelander out of his fucking ear. The great thing is, Homelander can't fucking bully him. He can't. He has to emotionally manipulate him. He can't bully him because Ryan may not be his level yet, but he can't just kill him. I gave Joe Kessler a nickname. I call him Turner Tumor Joe. Oh, Tumor Joe, that's bad and also good. I like how Kessler was like, "Nope, not nope. You ignored me. I'm not gonna come out." It's such a Venom thing. It. I think Ariel, you've clocked it correctly that this is a Venom kind of pastiche. Hmm. I hate to say it, my voice is really kind of running down a little bit now. So it's where are we at? An hour and a half so far. Um, I don't know if unless you guys have more thoughts about this episode, I might wrap up soon. Because it's damn near 6 o'clock where I am, and I need to get dinner. I'm hungry. Um, Turner Joe's my favorite character. Ariel says, I have enjoyed Jeffrey Dean Morgan and what he's done on this show. He's a class act. I mean, he really is. He classes up the joint wherever he goes. Um, he this character is a bit of a throwaway. I don't think we'll see. We might see Kessler next season. Who knows? But it's a bit of a throwaway. But I think in when it comes to that, he's really put his stamp on it. Again, he remains a class act that really elevates material. So I was glad that they brought him in. I'm glad that he has that relationship with Eric Kripke. I'm It really makes me look forward to next season. Not Jensen Ackles, but what's the other guy's name from Supernatural? He's Jared Padalecki. He probably is going to show up next season. Can't wait. In fact, I feel like Kripke. Now, this may not be true, but I just get a feeling about the guy, Eric Kripke, as a creator, a showrunner, uh, that he has James Gunn energy, and I mean that in that he he's able to like get either through his suggestion or casting, just good casting, get a group of actors that he respects, that respect him. They work well together. They've created good things in the past, and he can call on them again and give them a really nice part in a future project where they can really, bring all of their skills to the table and elevate the project. James Gunn is magnificent at that. He yes, he hires people he's befriended, that he's worked with, that he thinks are good. And Kripke seems to be the same way. And I do appreciate that. I appreciate a good working relationship that yields quality work. And if that's the case, if every time Kripke goes to something else, you know, fingers crossed he gets to do Star Wars, and he brings those guys over and they can work the same magic, hell yeah. Keep doing that. I want that. Uriel says, let's say if you had deep power, what would you do? I would go find Sebastian from The Little Mermaid, and we would, we'd have a cover band. He sings quite nicely, don't you agree? Uh, Also, I would really go find Sebastian and find the octopus from Aquaman, and we would have a cover band. It'd be fun. Um, Uriel says, I found it strange that Huey would fuck Starlight in episode 7 despite the fact that the world is kind of in danger. Not strange. We look, think about human behavior, human nature this way. We're just animals, and we desire to, you know, eat. We need to eat. We need to drink. We need, safety, security, and we need to propagate. Eat, sleep, fuck. That's, you've heard people, kind of, they need an outlet. It's just the truth. And intimate, and when we are in danger, when we are in mortal peril, human connection and intimacy is actually a really good, what do you would call it, comfort in those times. Ariel, thank you, sir. I appreciate you showing up and chiming in. I really do. Thank you for coming. Next week we're on, hopefully either today or on Friday. So I appreciate you, man. And if you haven't left a like, that would be cool, man. But thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. So everybody, I don't think anybody else is still here, which is good. It's a good indication that I need to end the stream. So that being said, thanks all for joining. Everyone who showed up, appreciate it. Everyone who is catching this on the rebroadcast, thanks also for showing up and driving some traffic there. If you can, show your boy some love. Get down there and hit like on this video. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so it'll let you know when we drop more content, when I schedule another live like this, so that you can be here for that. Also, if you aren't plugged into our social media, we are on Threads, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. So you can hit us up by email, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com. It's blerd_force1 on Instagram and on Threads, super_not_funny show on TikTok. Not super active on TikTok, but trying to do a bit more over there. But just if you want to go show us some love, that'd be dope. We are trying to grow this channel. We're at a little bit over 400 subscribers now, trying to get to 500 so we can have channel memberships and start doing some cool stuff there. But also on Threads, that's really primarily where I do social media. So if you want to come in, check out what we do over there, interact, I'm all for it. I love talking about nerd shit. That's what we do here on BLERD FORCE 1, talk about nerd shit, and all the cool stuff that goes on there. So that being said, come back to the channel. Keep an eye out for that notification about the stream for next week. Like I said, most likely Thursday or Friday. I will let you know. But until next time, I've been Mo, your comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture. I'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.